Chubb and missing two top offensive linemen, but Case Keenum and the Browns still defend home turf and improve to above 500 with a 3-point win over the Broncos. Cleveland currently third in the AFC North. It appears Baker's shoulder injury could be worse than expected. Mayfield told Fox Sports that he suffered a fracture in his upper left shoulder. That's his non-throwing shoulder. Tim, I'll start with you. How far can the Browns go?
Well, I think without Baker, I think they can still make the playoffs. I think with Baker, I think you have a recipe if everything comes together. And I mean everything, meaning Baker and Odell, this defense. I still think they have a shot to be a Super Bowl contender, make it to there. I think they have the recipe, right? They're different than every other team because they'll play in 13 personnel. They have three really good tight ends. They have explosive playmakers on the outside. Now, they haven't always connected this season, but they have that ability. Then on defense, they can get to the quarterback. And when you have that recipe, you can beat every team. The same recipe they had last year, except they have more pieces to that puzzle now. And so when you look at them, they haven't been perfectly in sync all year, but they have the recipe to be successful, to be able to beat teams like the Chargers, like the Chiefs, like the Bills. They have that recipe if it all comes together. So I still like this Cleveland Browns team.
Well, you go ahead and like him, Tim Tebow. You go ahead, right ahead and like him. I mean, to me personally, guess what they're going to do? How far can they go? Exactly where they were going. You understand? They have a chance to make the playoffs, and they're going to go home. It's really, really that simple, okay? Whether it's Case Keenum or Baker Mayfield, because no matter who they have at the quarterback position, it ain't that dude. You got Chubb. You got Kareem Hunt. Hopefully they'll get back healthy. Odell Beckham Jr. Listen, I was here on the air just a few days ago talking about, look, man, you get this guy in the right situation. We know what Odell brings to the table. You could be, you could go to the Super Bowl. I mean, if he landed in Green Bay, for example. I have to confess, a lot was made of his relationship with Baker Mayfield. Well, Baker Mayfield wasn't on the field last night. That was Odell Beckham Jr. 2 receptions for 23 yards. He doesn't look like himself. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know whether it's he's disinterested, he's not healthy, he's lost a step, whatever. He did not look good last night at all, and he hasn't looked good this season, and we thought it was because of Baker Mayfield. Well, he didn't have Baker Mayfield as an excuse last night, so that's something Odell Beckham Jr. is going to have to answer for. In the end, I look at the Browns, and I look at the Browns as a team that a lot of people hyped up. Are they a good team, Tim Tebow? Yes. They're not great. They got great running backs, but they're not great. And as a result, because of the conference they're playing in, with at least 3 teams who are great. And, listen, we look at the Chiefs. We ain't sleeping on them, even though they're 3-3. Now you got Buffalo. You got the Baltimore Ravens. Look, man, I'm just looking at them right now.
Yep.
Cleveland's not a part of the mix to me. They're just not.
Yeah, and you have the Chargers. I get that. But look at the way they played the Chiefs. Look at the way they played the Chargers. This team, they have the recipe to be successful. I also like it because they're different. When a team is preparing for the Browns, it's totally different than the Bills, than the Chiefs, than the Chargers. And I think that is a strength for this team. Is you have to show up and you have to put on your big boy pants. You have to play 13 personnel. You have to stop 3 tight ends. It is a physical game. Like, they didn't have their playmakers being playmaker-ish last night, and they still dominated the game because of this running game, because they can get to the quarterback, and that is very scary if you have to play this team. Now, what happens, Stephen A., if all of a sudden you see Odell start to take it to the next level? What happens if Baker plays a little bit more consistent? What happens if you have Jarvis and Odell? Yeah, but you're not saying the ifs on the other team. There's a lot of ifs on Kansas City right now. There's even ifs in Buffalo. There's ifs in Tennessee. There's ifs in Baltimore, right? There's ifs on all those teams. And so what I try to do is step back and look at it and say, if they can get hot at the right time, who could this team be, right? Because it doesn't matter week 7, week 8. That's right now when we hype it up because that's what the media does. It's what can they be if they can come together as a team in week 17, 18, in January and February. That's the difference.
Hey, buddy. Let me tell you something, Tim Tebow. I'm glad you said that because, you said the media, like you ain't a part of it. Yes, you are. That's number 1. And number 2, Tim Tebow, you also said it like we hype up other people. I recall somebody on the air named Tim Tebow with me a few Fridays ago hyping up them Florida Gators. You ain't hyping them up now, though, but you were hyping them up a few weeks ago.
You just need to go. Hey, listen. Hey, the difference is we put things in context. And in that argument, it was in context of Florida versus Alabama in the swamp. And by the way, your boy was right, all right? So you just need to calm down about that.
Next week about Ole Miss?
Hey, we didn't put a bet on that. And we didn't put a bet on last week, Florida versus LSU. You didn't bring that up, okay? Hey, listen, put it in context, man.
Kentucky.
Hey, anything out of context is wrong, all right? You got to put things in context. You know what I'm saying?
All right. I feel you on that. All right, we'll go with that. All I'm saying is this, though. Listen, ain't nothing to brag about being a giant in a small man's contest. Denver was overrated. They were 3-0. Everybody was getting hyped about them. And they've come crashing down to earth. And we've realized what they're not. That's who Cleveland beat last night. So let's put it in perspective.
All right, well, their next four, they have the Steelers, Bengals, Patriots, and Lions. So they are all winnable. Yeah, they are. They're not easy, but except for the Lions. But they're all winnable.
That's true.
All right, let's move on here, guys. Chiefs at Titans. Showtime. Mahomes versus King Henry. Here for it. Tennessee coming off a big Monday Night Football win over the Bills. And keep in mind, Buffalo beat Kansas City. You follow. So Patrick, always up for the challenge. Listen up.
I wouldn't want it any other way. You want to be the guys that everybody's going for because you're gonna get the best shot from everybody, and that's gonna make you great in the end. And so I think the guys understand that. We know that we're gonna get a great game every single week, and we have to come prepared to battle every single week, and that makes us better in the end.
Okay, Tim, I got an interesting one for you. Who would you rather have, Mahomes or Henry?
Can I get both of them? But right now, if I have the person that is dominating the most at their position compared to the rest of the NFL is Derrick Henry. So I would pick Derrick Henry because Derrick Henry, what he is doing right now is different than any other running back. And yes, there's a difference between running backs and quarterbacks are more valuable. But who is dominating at their position the most, maybe the most in the NFL, is Derrick Henry. What he did last week was ridiculous. And by the way, he's also going to get better throughout the year. That doesn't happen for most running backs. Almost 800 yards, 10 tuds. Everybody knows he's getting the ball, and he still runs over people. So I'm going to go with Derrick Henry.
Listen,
also,
man,
to make Stephen A. little bit upset.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. But listen, I'm not upset because I'm going to tell you why, Tim Tebow. Even though I completely disagree with you, you're wrong about that. Of course, it's Patrick Mahomes. I will say this to you. Molly, you didn't pick up on this.
What?
Tim Tebow said, right now. If I had to pick right now, based on what we're seeing right now, you know what that means, Molly? That means he's watching First Take, and he notices, and he says, it's fluid. It's fluid. I mean, we talking about right now, not necessarily 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month from now.
For sure.
Right now, that's what he's talking about. See, it's fluid, so I'm not the only one that believes in things being fluid. Tim Tebow believes in that as well.
Things can change. I agree with that, always.
There we go. Having said all of that, come on, bro. This is Patrick Mahomes we talking about here. This is Patrick Mahomes, all right? I mean, we ain't just talking about some dude that's got skills. We're talking about a champion. We're talking about a reigning two-time AFC champion. We're talking about a guy who's considered to be struggling right now. And what does he have, like 16 touchdowns or 6 interceptions? I mean, the brother is something special, and we understand that. So what happens is he's got an awful defense thus far, okay? And as a result of having that awful defense, he's engaged in some hero ball, trying to come to the rescue and do a little bit something extra because he feels compelled to do so because he can't rely on his defense to stop anybody. That's all that's going on with Patrick Mahomes. Things will get even better, and we know that. And you know you're going to take a quarterback of his magnitude. As great as Derrick Henry is.
If I was taking any player in the draft right now, if you could pick anybody, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes over everybody else in the NFL. But if you're just talking about this weekend, which we need to put things in context, Stephen A., this weekend, I think Derrick Henry is going to have a big one.
Yeah, that's because what do you think Patrick Mahomes is going to do against the Titans defense?
Okay, hold on.
What do you think Derrick's going to do against Kansas City's defense?
He worked about 180 yards. Okay. Yeah, about 180.
That's pretty good.
They're both going to ball. Let's go to Mr. and Mr. It's fluid. So the Titans are 4-2. The Chiefs are 3-3. I'll start with you, Tim. Which team do you trust more right now?
I trust Kansas City more. I trust Kansas City more because I think when they can shore up a few things on their defense, to Stephen A's point, you have Patrick Mahomes, you have Tyreek Hill, you have Andy Reid, you have an offense that for years, no one has truly figured it out. Yes, they've been slowed down at times here or there, and the Bucs did in the Super Bowl. But for the most part, no one has figured Andy Reid out. No one has been able to consistently stop him. So I trust Andy Reid with Patrick Mahomes and those playmakers because I think they'll have figured out just enough by the end of the year on defense to still make a run at it.
There's no disagreement here with that. We agree there about Kansas City. What I think is important to be said, however, and Molly, to your credit, you brought this up, and I'm not interested in giving you too much credit these days because I think she's been totally cruel to me, Tim Tebow. I think she's been totally cruel to me. She's been ganging up with everybody on me constantly.
That is not true. She always has your back, man. What are you talking about?
I'm out. Tim. 6 years I've lasted in this seat. 6 years with
lasted. You prospered, okay?
No,
you
prospered.
okay?
Prospered.
That's right.
But I'm saying it takes a special woman.
Yes,
and I don't like to compliment myself. I don't like to compliment myself, but it does.
See what she's doing, Tim? Who said she wasn't special? Who said she wasn't special? I call Molly special all the time. All I'm trying to say is that she gangs up on me, even though she did give me a beautiful facial for my birthday. You see how good I look? That's because of Molly. Molly got me a beautiful facial. So she deserves credit for that.
Listen, Stephen A.
Yes,